Okay, so we can consider to officially begin. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you're here. It's possible that I may have some connection issues, or that you may have some connection issues at some time. So be open to having issues. Be open to losing the connection. That's just normal. I am Bhante Varrapanyo, and this is our monk life community gathering together here. And this is really a very precious opportunity to be together on the path. This is a precious opportunity to, as my teacher likes to say, doing good deeds with mindfulness and detachment. So what kind of good deeds can we do here? Well, we see the monk, we see the human beings, and we are inspired to open up to the present moment experiencing. And we've had our community here going for a couple years or so. It's really a precious jewel. It's a Sangha, community of practitioners. And I'm very happy to be here and be sharing my time and my life with everyone. And I hope that you can also feel that way, that you are here not to get something. Actually, you shouldn't come here to get anything. That's what Amazon is for. But to arrive here to offer out, to share out, to expand, to spread out the mind, not just constricting. Oh, I'm here to get something, and then you find out that this isn't Amazon, and you'll be unnecessarily frustrated. So not showing up here to get something or grasp something, but showing up here to open up. Right now, I am in Vietnam with my teacher, Sayadaw Otamasara, and it's a very special time. It's a very nourishing time to be with my spiritual teacher. And we are here together with about 50 people, 50 monks and nuns, for the 3 months rains retreat, Vasa retreat. It's actually raining right now. And this is the annual 3-month retreat for Buddhist monastics, where we, in some capacity or another, recluse ourselves, or step back from wandering, step back from traveling, and stay put. Traditionally, this period of time was about protecting the lay people or the normal people, protecting the society, because the monks would be wandering around all the time, kind of stomping around, and maybe stomping on sprouted plants, or with a rainy season, it can get very muddy, it can get very dangerous. So it's a very practical reason why during this period of time the monks would stop traveling. But that has evolved into a period of time that is more focused on meditation or study, or at least staying in one place for these 3 months. So I'm here in Vietnam to practice that with my teacher, and it's a dynamic time. It's an exciting time to be nearby the Sangha, the monks and nuns, and also to be nearby someone who I consider to be one of the most powerful and engaged people in the world. So to be supported, certainly, but also to offer. There's that feeling when we are around a monk or a nun or another practitioner, a fellow practitioner. There's this there's this sense of space to open, this space to spread out, to widen out the heart and the mind. And I'm practicing a lot with that now. Yeah, I'm grateful that we have this community, and also grateful that this space is here. So not just the members of the community here, the familiar faces, but also the space that we can make other people aware of, to invite them, and also to just let it be known that we are gathering together for peace, for mindfulness, for doing good deeds, and to widen out, to open out, to detach, to be willing to let go of everything, anything, any thought we have, any experience that we have. There's a willingness to recognize it, even be afraid of it, even be concerned about it, or, Buddha forbid, traumatized by it. But actually, we're willing to let it go. We're willing to see the emptiness in it. We're willing to see the no self in it. We're willing to see the impermanence in it. Wow, I mean, it's a very generous activity to be like that, to have that mindset. And as we practice generosity, and as we practice doing good deeds more and more, and practice meditation more and more, really to start to change our life, this authenticity becomes more clearly authentic. It's not something that we put on, right? It's not something we do with an ulterior motive. It's not something we do with a idea to be free of that trauma or that situation or that experience, but it's a touching of our true self. Which is not really anyone in particular, and doesn't really have anything to do with any place in particular or anything in particular. In the same way that impermanence is right here every moment, right? Impermanence, 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 for a cloud, for a building, for the body, for the mind, for the cells in the body, right? Impermanence is there. That no one in particular is also there. That no place in particular is also there. That no thing in particular is also there. We just tend to not recognize it. And when we have a quite involved habit of not recognizing it, we develop maybe a very contrived way of being that doesn't see the openness, the compassion, the freedom at the core of each and every present moment. But just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. And it here is the essence, is our true nature. It here is not something in particular. It's not some place in particular. It's not some experience in particular. And it is effervescent. It is bubbling over. Right? Does everyone here know that word, effervescent? It's, you drop a tablet in some water and it becomes sparkling water. It fizzles, it exfoliates, right? It spreads out, bubbles out. Every moment is like that. I don't know if anyone here has experience with psychedelics, some kind of psychedelic substance, but people tend to, and I've experienced as well, to take a psychedelic, a substance, maybe a mushroom or some chemical, right? And then the mind and the body become very kind of raw and sensitive and experiential, and it's almost too interesting. It's overwhelming. It's confusing. It's destabilizing, and sometimes it can be very healing. But every moment is actually like that. Every moment is a trip. Every moment is panic. Every moment is exuberant joy. Every moment is just the unknown expressing itself everywhere, limitlessly. So there's nothing to be bored about. And I've been working with my meditation practice in this way of meditate. Real meditation is real meditation is not about meditation. Real meditation is not about meditating, but it's open. It's a natural state. And through recently, I've been practicing like that, just to open and just to really widen out and brighten out, to the point where to meditate is actually a joy. To meditate is this joyous, interesting exploration and way of not just, I'm going to meditate now, but facing and embracing and penetrating the present moment experience. Real meditation is not about meditating. Not to be tricked by this notion of meditation. Everything is right here. Everything is compassionate. Everything is wise. Everything is empty. Everything, every experience, every phenomena is bearing the mark of impermanence. Whatever you are aware of, whatever you are experiencing right now, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it's about. So in this way, there's not much time. There shouldn't be much energy to be following someone else or looking to someone else or trying to understand the situation or trying to manage your mind or your body or your life. There's just too much richness here. There's too much aliveness to be searching for things, to be looking outside of yourself. If it's outside, it should be widening out, brightening out, sharing out, not thinking out, not stories out. What's the need for it? There's already so much to heal, to be with, to embrace. Meditation is vulnerability. It is opening. It is authenticity. It's not about some particular practice. Some particular practice is only there to support you to not being confused by the present moment experiencing, just as it is. Meditation, a particular meditation method, is just like taking a fan and pointing it upwards towards the cloudy sky and turning it all the way on. Yeah, there are small fans, there are big fans, and if you get enough fans, you can move clouds. Clouds aren't that big of a deal. We can move clouds around. With we can move clouds around. You can clear them up or something, sure. But the true nature of the sky, wide open, and that wide open blue sky is just obscuring pure spaciousness, pure limitlessness, right? So just to open is enough. Not about understanding anything, not about doing anything, not about getting anything. It is especially not about some person in particular. It's not about someone. It's not about someone is inclusive of everyone, everything. It's not rejecting. It's certainly not controlling. What can you control? There can be an appearance of control. There can be an experience of control. But if you look authentically, what can you control? What can a tree control? What can the sun control? What can the moon control? What can the heart control? Doesn't even make sense. So rather than control, allow, penetrate, widen out, brighten out. Brighter than bright, shorter than short, wider than wide. So this is something along the lines of a right view and a right understanding. It's very important that we develop a relationship with the right view. Not only that we can have that view for ourselves, or we can possess the right view, or say, oh, I actually know about the right view or the right understanding quite a bit. Not really for that, but so that we can understand the right view. We can understand the right understanding, so that our wrong view and our wrong understanding doesn't lead us into the turmoil of attachment to cause and effect, attachment to pleasure, attachment to pain, and then identification with pain, identification with pleasure, identification with this body. Identification with the weather, identification with the heat. Not so that we can, I have the right view, I have the right understanding, I don't care if it's hot, I don't care if it's cold, whatever. I think that's possible to get to that position of authority, of authenticity. But even in that position, cold is cold, hot is hot. Your ankle's twisted, that's what it is. you know? Oh, I don't identify with my twisted ankle, so I'm just going to keep walking. Um, you know. So that's the widen out. It's beyond any point of self-identification, any point of discrimination or picking and choosing. Not in the narrative of our lives. What's the use of this narrative? This is why bathtubs are there, so that we can drop the narrative, so we can drop the story. Every morning I wake up and there's some fog, it's a haunted house, be quiet. I just wake up, I want to wake up and do what I need to do. But every morning it's this haunted house. Maybe it's just sleepiness, right? It's not necessarily about a complicated story, a complicated self-narrative. And if we only know how to approach healing or dealing with the condition from this self-fixated narrative, we're going to be missing one of the most fundamental tools in our toolbox, which is just not being so serious, just being open, just putting down what we pick up, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. But that not caring is not a callousness. It's not being callous. It's not being rough or rigid. It is a widening out. It's a willingness to open out, to widen out the heart, the eyes, the ears, the body, the mind. We should firm up our relationship with the truth. we should firm up our relationship with understanding or empathizing with the created truth, and some created truths, some kind of stories about our life are more true, some are less true. And it's also, it changes moment by moment, you know. Mostly it is irrelevant. The most accurate story and the most, you know, you're completely detached from reality story, right? The contextual reality that you find yourself in, is mostly irrelevant, regardless of what it is. But okay, we have a relationship with empathizing with created truths, not only of ourselves, but also of other people, and also not only of the mind, but created truths of physical objects as well. This is a chair. Well, it's not going to be a chair if the temperature, if the earth goes closer to the sun or whatever. Okay. You know, our phone is not going to be what we call the phone if it's broken down into its parts. So the phone also is a kind of created truth, temporary, changing. So we should firm up our relationship with the original truth, the fundamental nature. And there are so many words for this. Present moment experiencing. Maybe it's not such a good one, but I think it's okay also. My teacher says, not someone, not some place, not some time. Ever new impermanent nature. Ever new impermanent nature. The nature of your thought is emptiness, is impermanence, it's not going to keep being there. So why are you stuck on it? Why are you believing in it? Recently, I gave the analogy of the phone that the shopkeeper tells you isn't reliable and isn't going to, it's prone to break at any moment. It's prone to fall apart at any moment. Okay? When you go or you buy a teapot and they say, look, this teapot can break at any moment. You're not going to buy that teapot. This is that moment. This is that teapot. Do not buy it. Do not buy it. What does that mean? It means to widen out, to open out, to refresh, to restart. Okay. But we're not meditating. It's present moment experiencing. It's not about meditation. It's about reality. Firming up our relationship with the truth. And from that relationship, however you firm it up, this is where the situation becomes malleable, where it becomes workable. We can start to heal the body. We can start to heal mental illness. We can start to heal physical illness through the way that we take care of this body and mind. And it's not just about you. It's not just about your body and mind. Come on. What a miserable life. This is my car. This is my phone. This is my computer. Buddha forbid, these are my cigarettes. We are a community. We are all the leaves of one tree. We are all the stars of one sky. And maybe for many of us, we haven't experienced that so much. Right? Seems to me that in maybe lesser developed countries or Asian countries, some of the countries that I've been in, there seems to be a much more rich community aspect. That's me. That's my neighbor is also me, not my competitor, not my fellow consumer, but that's me over there. That's my community. So it's also not just about my understanding, my experience, my healing, my understanding, my view, my position. That those things are to be used only, to be experienced only, not to be lost in, not to be trapped in, not to be identified with. You just use it, you just experience it. I'm a monk. That's to be used only. That's to be experienced only. Don't get ahead of yourself. Right? I'm a therapist. I'm a skillful person. Right? I'm a coffee connoisseur. Don't make us all miserable. Let's just have coffee. It's not just about your taste. So even though sometimes the ego can be sweet or seem nice or seem playful or whatever, you don't need to take that. You don't need to act on that. You can step back from coming or going. Step back from good or bad. Step back from, oh, this is what I should do. This is what I shouldn't do. The stepping back, and step back from the stepping back itself. Okay? It's very normal. It's very ordinary. But it's not about someone. It's not about some person or some place or some time. Your home, your possessions are to be used only, experienced only. Should be in a generous way, should be in a skillful way. Why not? Okay? But primarily, that skillful way is to use without attachment, to experience without attachment. And using and experiencing it with the right understanding and with the right view. If it's not about someone, well, then it's everything, everything. And this heart-mind is essential, is a part of everything, everything. Most of us we are coming from the Western background, the European background, in some sense. So I'm not sure what we are going to do. I don't want to speak out of turn. But being here, being with the monks and nuns of the Tabarwa organization, and according to Sayadaw's teaching and my master's advice, you should try to change your life. I one time, we go through different patches, we go through different periods of time, depending on how involved we are in changing our life, right? And I remember I was experiencing some difficulty and stress, and just kind of, I wasn't staying true to my heart mind. I was in a rut. I was in a tough situation, experience. And I was speaking with a group of, younger people online. Or I think they weren't even younger, but just people online. And I asked them, how do you guys feel on a scale of 1 to 10? How's your life? Is it miserable? You're living a miserable life, a horrible life, really? And a lot of people can't even touch their heart mind. They don't even have a relationship with authenticity because it's so much about consumption. It's so much about going from one thing to the next thing and building our ego on that. But for many people I know, and if we look at the mental health crisis and the mental health situation in the modern world, especially America, it's really abysmal. And what's happening, from that mental health crisis in America and this hunger for drugs to deal with that situation, what's happened to South America? So you should try to change your life. This life isn't meant to be miserable. Yeah, there is suffering. There is difficulty. There is dissatisfaction. But we need to recognize that. We need to penetrate that. We need to recognize that there's a reason for not being satisfied, for being miserable, for suffering, for being unskillful all the time, and making more and more complex problems for ourselves, which is our grasping, our desire, our selfishness, which is not real and not true and not authentic. We are not separate from, it's cliche to say, but we're not separate from the environment. We're not separate from one another. In our true essence is not separate. It's beyond the self-fixated notions. It's beyond the story. Story has nothing to do with it. Just like our story about the sunlight has nothing to do with it. We're just chatting. So for myself, I experienced that. I don't know how many people know about my story. But growing up, I had a really, really tough time, and I was on a wrong road. I come from a broken home, so that my parents separated from a young age, and there was many suffering growing up. I don't have a very good memory because of how unstable the situation was. Not having many role models or people to give me that connection to the truth or any sense of groundedness. So after, just a difficult time, especially in adolescence and, going through high school and all this, I tried to just leave and travel and, try to figure myself out. And I came across spirituality and meditation and Buddhism. And, I went and I had some experiences. I took some, psychedelic retreats and spent time at like a Hindu temple. And I tried a lot of different things, but where I landed was being alone and being in a time of complete crisis. Mental instability, depression, anxiety, paranoia, just every aspect of my life was completely horrible, for sure. I can say that for sure. My entire life, my entire mind was just horrible. It was a nightmare. And I went to stay at a 1 year meditation program or residential program at a Zen center. It's called Upaya Zen Center, and there's community there, meditation, and the teaching. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And from that year of training, I healed a lot. I grew a lot. I met some great friends. I took refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and then I went back out into the world. This is 21, 22. And then when I was 25, I found success in my material life. Everything was, I escaped my suffering of my past. I had a lot of money, a lot of, relationship and a car and, two 12-inch subwoofers and a Camry with tinted windows. Wow, is everything that I could have wanted. And I realized that was not what I needed. That wasn't freedom. That I was trapped by my success. I was trapped by my ability to get what I want and avoid what I didn't want. And that to do that in this materialistic way, I was making contracts with all these different people, social contracts, business contracts. I was giving away my freedom. And I needed my freedom. And I need my freedom now more than ever to change my life. So I took refuge to join the community of monk and nun, to become a yogi, and to become a meditator. Not just doing meditation, not downloading a meditation app, okay? Even the Plum Village app, I recommend for everyone, get the Plum Village app on your phone. But that's kind of a kindness, right? That you need to be ready to change your life, to become a meditator, to become a yogi, to become a monk or a nun. Not everyone needs to do that. But if you want to change your life, if you know that what you're doing is not working, it's not going to be enough to just do this and don't do that. You should go beyond doing this or doing that. And it doesn't mean, maybe when you hear this from the modern perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to be a monk or a nun. No, you can become a meditator. You can become a yogi. You start to change your life. But to do that, it's not about someone. So this castle of someone that you've built, you need to start working with it in a different way. We are trapped by our success. Okay? And I don't want anyone here to be trapped. I don't want to be trapped by anything, by anyone. And I believe that that's possible. I believe that anyone here can do that. I believe I can do that. But to do that is not a simple task. And the reason that we can be here like this, the reason I can be here like this and feel, normal, some kind of normal, is because this is our essence. Our essence is freedom. The luminosity of the sun, the brightness of the sun, the star that gives us warmth, is powered by impermanence, is powered by ever new impermanent nature. Every cell of your body is powered by ever new impermanent nature. Moment by moment. This nuclear reactor, it's not very sweet sounding, this sun engine, star engine, is powered by ever new impermanent nature, shining out. So you should shine out. You should let your rays flow out. It's also constricting around meditation is not going to work. That's not Buddhism. That's not the path to enlightenment. It can give you strength. It can give you a certain kind of power, certain kind of experience, maybe make your day easier. But do we want our day to be easier, or do we want to become enlightened? Do we want to become free? It's very healthy to just open, 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 open. Right? Because this experience, this reality, whatever this is, not being about someone, not being about someplace, not being about some particular time. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. I better get to sleep. you know, well, that's one way to do it, but I haven't found that very helpful in my life. It's not about a particular time. It's not about a particular place. It's not about a particular person. And this is all to speak of the effervescentness of just this, whatever just this is for you. Whatever just this is for the star that gives warmth to our hearts and freedom to our minds, or it shines with us in freedom. And there are many, many different experiences and also many different people. And when I say this, I really what comes to mind for me is very sincere practitioners that I've gone out, right, to find myself in a situation with them where the initial perception or the initial view is just not even to say true or false, but it's just nothing compared to their nature, to their essence. And the same is true with our experiences or the place that we find ourselves in or the time that we find ourselves in. Not just that first perception or that first idea, but widening out, brightening out, stepping back, step back. It's far more interesting than we can, talk about or think about. And if we are talking, if we are thinking, if we are doing, it should be good, period. That's the standard we should set for our intention. If you're thinking, if you're acting, if you're doing, if you're experiencing, it should be, yes, to experience only, to do only. To do good. All right. Well, that's what I have said. And we can open for sharing experience or any question that someone may have. And if you have a question, please use your microphone, turn on your camera if you can. Beyond, 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 beyond itself.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes. Well, you talk about the detachment. You should detach from everything, everyone. But you don't detach from the Sangha and the community. Can you just explain that?
Well, we have to be practical, right? Monks have to eat. Monks have to have a place to stay. You know, in Asia, when a monk is followed by many people or is respected by many people, they're being fed. What's the monk going to eat? What are they going to eat? Where are they going to sleep? I remember there is a practice in for Buddhist monks called Dutanga, Tudong, and that's when you basically you really practice ascetically. So you just carry what you have with you, your robe and your bowl. I also had a mosquito net with me, a small mosquito net, and you just walk. And I was practicing to sleep in graveyards, which is one of the places where we can sleep when we do this practice. This is in Myanmar, in Burma. And I found a graveyard to sleep. You can sleep in a graveyard or under a tree or at a carnal ground, a place where they burn bodies. It's a part of this Dhutanga practice that the Buddha uh, allowed monks to do, supported them to do. And in the morning, after I slept there, I woke up and went for alms around. So I went in this very small village, just people living in bamboo huts, and they were, so happy to see me and putting food in my bowl. And they also thought that I might have been like traveling or doing something, that I was maybe going for to get bus fare or something. I'm not sure what they thought, but they also were giving me money. And they kind of asked me, I had to clarify, like, yeah, I come here to eat. And then I stayed again in that graveyard another night. And when I woke up the next morning, they're bringing me food to this, it was a mosquito net that you had to sit and meditate in. You couldn't even lay down in it. And they're bringing me, food early in the morning so I don't need to go up and do alms round. And also bringing me a cushion and like to cover me more so that I'm more well protected and considered. So it's just to be practical. There is a practical situation, and that's to be really involved in this present moment experience. And to widen out your perspective and your point of view so that it's not about you. And when you open to be like that and to do like that, you don't need to attach to anything. I find myself to be wearing these robes. I find myself to be, giving this talk and we have this community here. Am I going to wake up tomorrow? I have no idea. Is there a formula that I followed to get to this point? I didn't even know what being a monk was going to be before I went out and went to Thailand. I had no idea what the situation was going to be. So it is a problem if you are attached to anything. But before you get ahead of yourself, you should be generous. And that's to be generous in the way that you can understand, the way that you can practice. The greater generosity is to share the Dharma. The greater generosity, even more than that, is to widen out, to brighten out, to share the ending, to share the forgiving, right? To share the cessation of suffering, to share the enlightenment, right? To share freedom. What's a greater gift to a child than to give them freedom, give them forgiveness? So it's not about attaching to being a monk or attaching to the Sangha. It's about changing your life. It's about recognizing the anatta and the anicca and the dukkha that is effervescently expressing itself to you at all times, whether you like it or not, mentally or physically, right? Sickness, old age, and death. It's right here. It's like jazz, good jazz. If you look for it, you can't find it, but it's there. And if you develop a relationship with it over how you change your life, not just how you practice something or do, make an investment. Now you've got a bunch of money in the bank. What's it going to do for you? Nothing. There's nothing that it can do for you. Except, people take opiates and people take, different substances to try and do something, and you see you have to pay it back, right? And trust me, those people are paying it back. Those people don't need to be punished. Those people are suffering. It's a fair point. Don't attach to what's good. Don't attach to what's bad. But what's good and what's bad is to be used. It's to be experienced. It's to be penetrated. It's not simply a matter of our notions about it or our ideas about it, right? It's something that we need to enter into very, very directly. So if I attach to being a monk, which certainly, it comes up, that is to be used only, to be experienced only, and for me to continue mindfulness and detachment, right? Continue doing good deeds more and more. Continue making mistakes with detachment. Continue to have a mindset of, oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh my gosh, this is the situation that I'm in. And to abandon, to offer out the forgiveness, offer out the ending, right? Offer out the finishing. Even though, that attachment is there, that feeling is there, these robes are here. And it's a good point, someone was saying, one of the members of our community who's quite a practitioner, and they've invested a lot of time in Buddhism and meditation, and they were just saying recently in our text channels that it wasn't until they abandoned, quote unquote, being a Buddhist that they really had success in their practice. But you don't need to do that in any particular way. You just need to change your life. And that is to go beyond notions and positions that you are faulty and are not reliable. Right? It's just like that phone. You go to the Apple store, I'm going to get iPhone 15 or something. And that person says to you, look, I'm happy that you're here, and I certainly would like to sell you this phone. I just want to be clear, this new iPhone, it's not reliable. And it gets sick, it kind of stops working intermittently. It's going to go through depression. It's gonna, this iPhone is going to not turn on for you sometimes because it'll be, too tired. And you say, well, okay, yeah, let me, what do you have, a payment plan? No, you say, what are you talking about? This isn't reliable. This is not to be relied upon. This is to be stepped back from. This body is like that. Step back from this body, let alone the image or the appearance of the body, which is completely unreliable.
Well, can you say that you can detach from things and persons, and but you are connected to everything, the nature, the community. That's something else, right?
Everything, everything. Inside of each thing is everything.
Mm. Mm.
But that everything is beyond something. It's beyond the separation of things, which is what gives rise to discriminatory positions and thinking. This is beautiful, that is ugly.
Mm.
No, everything,
Yeah.
everything, right? One everything is not enough. One everything means this, and all this. Everything, everything is beyond separation, beyond things existing individually or separately. This is not actually
Mm.
reality. Not only can we empathize with this intellectually, but it's like that. That's how it is. That's innate, So in Buddhism, the three marks are marks of reality. They're not marks of a philosophical position or perspective about reality. Oh, everything's impermanent. That's not what it's talking about. It's a mark. It's a crack in the seams, if you will, of reality. So widen out, brighten out. Not about doing, yeah,
Thank
not
you.
about doing anything in particular.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Not constricting inwardly, but widening out, spreading out, scattering out. Okay, and this supports and establishes the right view and the right understanding for the rest of what arises and passes away. And we know that it's hot. The Buddha said that someone with anger, right, is like holding a hot coal with the intention to throw it at someone else, or, this body is that hot coal. This mind is that hot coal. If you didn't know that, you would not be here for sure. I know that. This mind is a hot coal. It is to be used only, and it is to be experienced only. To do good deeds. More and more. For all. All right. Let's all bring our hands together, and we will do a simple practice. We will just say sadhu together 3 times. Right? And sadhu means well done. So we recognize the wholesomeness, the goodness of this activity, and then moving forward, activities that share a similar dynamic, we will go towards them and involve with them, and not just for ourselves, but for all. And also, as we say sadhu, really try to express your breath, open out, widen out, and offer out this shining blessing of your forgiveness, your enlightenment. Okay? Let's all share our enlightenment, however small it may be. Sadhu. 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 And we can all make a bow. Okay, thank you, my friends, for being here. Be free.